Alright, friends of the internet, welcome to another Plant-a-Sode. Today we are on a rescue mission, and we are going to be trying to rescue this pink Tricolor inch plant. I'll put the name below the proper name. I think it goes by both names, but yeah, it's not doing so well, so we're going to try and save it. Alright, so let's save this this plantaroo here. I don't know what happened here. The backstory with this plant is I bought this on Facebook Marketplace, and I bought 4 cuttings that were rooted in the soil, but the person I bought it from obviously didn't have much experience with plants. The roots were tiny, it was barely anything there, and 3 out of the 4 cuttings died in this planter that I got from her. The one that did survive grew a really one long vine, came out to about here. And then one morning I woke up and the vine was on the floor. It got so heavy it snapped and broke off. So I cut the vine up into bits and I put it in water, rooted it, and I got this plant out of it. And now this plant that was in here that was doing well, you can see the leaves are starting to go brown and it looks like it's starting to die a little bit. So I want to investigate and figure out what's going on. My guess is the roots, something with the roots is not right. I want to give it more soil, so we're going to transplant both these plants into this 8-inch terracotta pot and get them in here. Now the thing I learned with this plant, because I tried to propagate one before, is that the roots are super thin and delicate. So if I were to go and like dig around in here and try and separate the plants, I'll probably rip the roots because they rip real easily, and I've killed a plant like that before. So I'm going to try and keep this intact as possible and just put it in, and then keep this as intact and pot as possible and just put it in and then backfill with soil. And that's the plan. That's the plan. So here we have the terracotta pot. Inside I've got this this piece of mesh that when you buy garlic at the grocery store, it comes in this this plastic mesh. So I put this at the bottom of the pot to block the holes. So it's pretty simple. You take the mesh and you place it over top of the hole there, and it prevents a lot of the soil from falling through the big hole in the terracotta pots. At least that's my hope. Okay, for the soil, this is just basic potting soil here, nothing too fancy. But what I did realize is that this soil tends to compact and get really hard, and like I mentioned, this plant has very delicate roots. So I'm going to try and mix some perlite in here to just air it up a little bit and make it a little less compactable. At least that's what I'm hoping it does. So that's what I'm going to start with. I'm going to get a little perlite in here. Ooh, it's like a science experiment. Look at all this perlite dust. Okay, so I got this mixed up pretty good. Now we're going to put it in the terracotta pot. Alright, so first thing I want to do is just sort of get an idea of the heights of these. They're not too high, but 4 or 5 inches. So I want to just understand how much I should add in before I take these plants out of their pots. And here we go. About 3-4 inches from the bottom. Okay, maybe 2 more scoops. All right, perfect. So let's see. I'm gonna get a butter knife and I'm just gonna go around the edges here very delicately to try and separate this plant from the side of this pot. And I planted this plant here in that potting mix that I was using, or just topsoil mix. And as I'm putting this knife in, I can already feel that the soil is super dense. It's compacted around. Let's see what we could do here. Oh wow, look at that. The roots have grown nicely. I just planted these about 2 weeks ago. Or maybe 3 weeks ago. Those roots are looking nice. So those roots are looking really nice. Yeah, I'm excited to see that. It's always a good sign when the roots look good. So let's just pop that in here. Don't want to break up the roots at all. I just want to leave it as is because these are fairly new plantings. And look, there's a new growth in here too. Nice. Okay, now for the tough one. This one. Okay. Let's see what we can do here. Get rid of some of that topsoil there. It actually smells, despite it being terracotta, it does smell very wet and kind of like moldy. Let's hope for the best. Okay. Wow, that soil just completely fell apart. Looks like we definitely lost some roots there. I wonder if I should put this in water and let it root or just leave it as is. Yeah, this soil is way too wet. I can feel the roots in here. Well, you know what? It'll be what it'll be. We're gonna try our best. So this plant, the leaves were turning brown, obviously because the soil was too wet for whatever reason. Just wasn't drying out enough in terracotta. I was probably overwatering it. Okay, so now I know, and hopefully this plant survives here. Let's stick it in here. It's strange though because this one here was watered just as much as that one, but or just as often, I would say, but this one seems to be having issues. Okay, let's break up some of this. And let's see what we can do here. Put that delicately in there. Okay, so I think also with this this bigger terracotta pot, we should be able to water this a little more easily, and with the perlite in here, the water should drain a little faster, so it won't sit as much. Let's fill up this spot here, and if this one plant here does die, we have these 4 cuttings here, which will continue to grow, and I can take cuttings from those as well and grow new plants, so I'm not too concerned. But if this was my only one, I would be concerned. And it's weird because it grew like crazy without any problem, and now all of a sudden it had issues. And I didn't change much. I water it once a week. Maybe the roots got too big or too... I don't know. I don't know. But at least now I know why the leaves were turning brown. Give it a little shake. Okay, so there we go. Everything is potted in the new pot, including the old plant. And I really want this to grow nice and big and explode and have lots of vines and everything. So it's just going to take some time, but it'll get there. Now we're going to water it, and we're done. And I'll give you guys updates on this plant and let you know if it's... these ones will survive for sure. I'll let you know if this other one survives. gonna soak it all the way through. And then I probably won't water it again for a little while. Okay. And that is it. That is it. Just gonna wait for this water to drain through. I'm gonna put this in the window for to get some sunlight, and then fingers crossed, and hopefully we get a nice big plant soon. Woo, woo. All right, fast forward 2 weeks into the future, and this is what the plant looks like now. All right, it's looking pretty good, pretty good. The leaves have just exploded on these cuttings. Look at the size of them compared to my hand. I have not seen leaves grow this big on this plant, at least any plant that I've owned anyway. So it must like this new pot and more room to grow. The original cutting is hanging on. It's the leaves are still kind of firm. You can feel them. They're live. I mean, I would say 90% of the roots were ripped off when I tried to replant it. So it's really struggling to do its thing, but it's holding on for now. We'll see what happens. But the plant in general is looking amazing. Really happy with the results here. Transplanting everything into the one pot was definitely a good thing, and we've got a lot of new growth happening, which is also a good thing. And I'll probably take cuttings. I'll probably cut off this long piece here and plant it back into the soil just to make the plant bigger and more full. And yeah, totally happy with that. If you remember the Enjoy transplant video, or sort of planting of the cutting video, one of the first videos I made, I'll put a link to it down below. But these are the results a few weeks later. All the little cuttings are growing, and they're pushing out new leaves of their own, which is super exciting. So there's a lot of new growth happening here. This plant is amazing, amazing. It's like doubled in size since I took the cuttings. And also, I don't know if I'm going to make a video of this or not, but my sister's neighbors are building a new fence, and they cut down their lilac bush tree thing. And I took some cuttings, I have it in water. I have to research on how to root them. I'm not sure if that's going to work or not, but I took the cuttings anyway because they're throwing it all in the garbage. And we will see if this turns into a lilac plant, bush tree thing. But yeah, that's a future project. But yeah, there's the update. Alright, peace out. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.